Why did you go to Ferguson? Go ahead, Jason. You can start.
Because Mike Brown got killed. No, I went down there because I felt I needed to be there. I felt that community needed some support. Knowing what happened to him, how he was killed, and all of those bullets, and how he laid there for 4.5 hours, I felt I had to go there. But I'm always cognizant that I got two little girls, and I don't want to traumatize them any further than what they get during their normal travels through their, just on the highways and byways of life. But I had to go there, and when I went there, I was happy to see that there were people from all over the country trying to help that community. But what happened to him wasn't right. And then for the indictment, for them not to indict was another slap in the face, because those people have been dealing with issues from the police for a long time, way before Mike Brown was killed. And when I went there in solidarity with them, I just felt them. And all too often when we do this work, we just talk about people in numbers, or we use statistics or different things like that, but we rarely feel people. Don't just look at me for what you believe or what you've been taught or what you see on television screens, but feel me, feel my existence. All too often we think of the black man as a criminal. And it's like Mike Brown was some kind of criminal because of some kind of tobacco incident in the store. But people don't understand that he was about to start college. He was a community member. People loved him. And it was like his existence on social media was wiped away. And I saw this as I was traveling down there, and it hurt me because I've had firearms pulled on me by law enforcement, and I knew that could have been my reality, and I know what people would have said. So I felt like I had to go down there and be where he was when he got killed so I could feel it a little bit more.
So the reason I went down was like slightly different, and there was a twist there. I went down specifically because like about 2 years ago I started going into this journey of like social consciousness, figuring out who I am as a black woman, and starting to unpack my own story. And so I think I went down there, like initially my idea was like for healing. And I was like, this could possibly also be like the freedom summer of my generation.
Yeah,
exactly. But instead of healing, it ended up being a really traumatic experience. Like I guess like now, sometime later after having returned and like figuring out how to, like processing everything that I experienced, like it was slightly more healing. But I guess it's more like processing. Yeah, the processing part was healing, figuring out why that experience was so traumatic to me, and like putting it within both like the historical context of the struggle of my people, and that sort of way. But yeah, to answer that question, why I went down there, that's why, because I wanted healing, got trauma, but I guess like the end result.
Thank you. I took 3 trips to Ferguson and St. Louis total, and
Pull the mic closer.
okay. And the reason I wanted to go initially, like back in August when everything happened, was because I was like, I don't know, because I wanted to be in the heat of things. Everything was so wild, and I was like, man, I got to be there. I got to stand with these people. And then by the time October came around when I went on my first trip, I needed to go because I needed to see, like, for myself what was happening and get answers and like see the truth so that I could spread it out to more people, because there was just so much confusion going on with what was being spread in the media. And I just like, that was the biggest thing for me. I just wanted to go and stand in solidarity and then get the truth out to people who couldn't get there. And yeah, it ended up being a really traumatizing experience, but I went back and I don't know.
And you were part of the Quick Trip 19.
Yeah.
And that was 19 people who were arrested in a Quick Trip.
Yeah, it was my first trip there in October. It was for Ferguson October. And we did a night action. It was only a few days after Von Derek Myers had been killed. And we did a night action where we marched from his memorial, and I had no idea where we were going when it was happening. And we arrived at a Quick Trip, and we sat down. We occupied the Quick Trip. It was locked up. We just sat down in the parking lot. And then the police just came in riot gear, and there were hundreds of them. And we were in a big march, it was the middle of the night. It was 2 in the morning by the time we arrived. And, most of us were youth, and a bunch of us are just sitting on the ground. you know, like doing this peaceful sit-in, and the police just like swallowed us. And I don't know, it's like all of that just because, yeah. Oh yeah, you know,
Exits.
once I was arrested, I didn't get experience it, but they did like tear gas people, and they had their batons, and like it was just like, it reminds me, for people who have seen Selma, it reminded me of the nighttime march scene out of Selma. Like watching that was triggering for me because it was so much like that.
Mall of America was triggering for me after
Yeah.
having gone to Ferguson. I was about to say Selma, but going to Ferguson. And seeing all those officers, seeing the National Guard, seeing white men on rooftops who weren't officers and who had snipers' rifles guarding businesses. They were just random people, like through the Oath Keepers. But you would see just lines and lines of officers, and I was part of a group that got tear gassed my first night. So showing up on December 20th at Mall of America and seeing those officers in riot gear, it triggered for me what I experienced in Ferguson. And it's very real when you see the militarization of our police force and realizing how much we are oblivious to the way in which our system operates. The fact that a couple years ago I saw a military tank rolling down the street in Brooklyn Park.
Yeah.
By officers. I'm thinking, why would officers need a military tank? Why do you need high-grade weapons? Why do you need chemical warfare? But that is the place that we're in right now with the system of mass incarceration, where we have 5% of the world's population, but 25% of its prisoners. The highest rate of prisoners in the world. And it doesn't seem as though it's slowing down anytime soon.